Ferris State just won their fourth Division II national championship in the last 5 years, and look at how they did it. Look at this dominating fashion: 520 yards per game, 16-0 record, 313 rushing yards per game, 52 points per game, allowed fewer than 20 points per game. Dominating fashion for the Division II dynasty. And head coach Tony Annese has really cemented himself as one of the best coaches across the entire sport. I mean, look at this run. Multiple high school state championships, and then won multiple JUCO national championships, and has now won 4 of the last 5 Division II national championships. So with all that being said, let's dive into the Ferris State offense that makes this thing go. Okay, now very similar to what we talked about yesterday with Wisconsin River Falls players and plays. Ferris State's offense is really unique in what they want to achieve, how they're getting to it, some of the looks that they're running off of, how they're packaging plays, all that, right? We're going to see a pretty good example of that here, and really what is a staple for what they want to do offensively. Again, we're seeing the motion into the field. Quarterback's going to fake the bubble, and they're just going to run ISO, QB ISO, right? And this is exactly what they want to do. With this motion, they're getting 3 over 3. Now you have a hat on a hat in the box. So you have 4 down, you got the 2 backers, you have the safety over here. Now, he probably could throw this, again, because it's 3 over 3, so you're trusting your 2 receivers to make their blocks, and then have the receiver be the third guy to account for the third defender. But again, this is what they practice, and this is what they preach, man. I'm telling you. Fake it, and then just QB ISO, right? With the running back leading up, quarterback's following. Now you have an explosive, man. This is what we're talking about with players and plays. Look at how well this is blocked up. And look at the quarterback making a move, generating an explosive, finishing the run strong. So a really good start to identifying what they do so well. Okay, now this is later in the drive on the 4-yard line, looking to punch it in. And again, this is a really good example of how they're dressing their run game up, confusing defenders, creating looks for themselves. Again, we're going to get motion in the split zone, okay? So you can see the right side caving down on the defensive line. And this is what the tight end's going to do. He's going to split. He's going to slice, kick out this DN who's wrong arming or boxing it, and now you have the quarterback looking to make a move. And look at what the motion does to this DB. Again, 12's got a bump, and he's got to run with the tight end. And basically what's going to happen is he's just going to get over-leveraged because, again, we see how this front is structured. Everyone's pinching inside. You have the DN who's basically, would be surfing essentially if he had any type of backside pursuit. He's trying to box this right here, right? Wrong arm it, same arm, same foot. Tight end does a good job, and look what the motion does, man. It just pulls that safety a hair out of position. Now the quarterback can run it in untouched for a touchdown. So again, a really good example of how they're window dressing their run game. Okay, in this next clip, we're going to get 4 verts against cover 3. So we're going to snap it, and we're going to see how this is going to play out. You can see it already, how this is going to become more of a cover 3 sky look. You have the safety dropping down. So the safety being the S, the sky designation. He's going to be your flat player. Here's your middle of the field safety. Going to gain depth, obviously try to protect over the top. And here are, your 2 corners. Again, this is your cover 3 sky look, okay? You're going to have 4 under 3 deep. That's what cover 3 is. It's a 4 under 3 deep coverage. And we're going to see how this 4 verts is going to play out. We're running back a little bit because, again, we're going to have 2 by 2. The back's going to release. We're going to see number 1 here is going to run this shallow. And he's really going to occupy and hold this mic here, right? We see this mic going to try to wall it off. He might try to settle in between, but we're going to release the 4 other verticals. We're going to send them out, and we can see already how this is shaping up. Okay, we have this nickel here, again, as an underneath defender. We see him widening, and what the running back's going to do is once he sees the width that the nickel is getting, he is just going to turn it up the hash because we see this middle of the field safety occupied by this pull runner who was number 2 and is now number 3. Right, 1, 2, 3, he becomes 2, or he becomes 3 rather, he becomes 2. And we're seeing how all this is unfolding, right? We're going to see this running back turn it up the hash, and again, quarterback's going to make a really good throw. Receiver's going to make the running back's going to make an even better finish at the catch point to attack and gain 27 yards on this play. Again, you see how 4 verts can attack cover 3. Really good way to dress it up and execute. All right, we're going to end on this play here because it's not only one of my favorite plays from the entire game, but it's one I saw live, and it just juiced me up when I saw the throw that you're about to see and really saw the execution of it all. So let's get into it. We're going to see a pretty similar design and look from the same one we saw earlier in the game when we saw that motion in the split zone. We're going to see the same thing here. You're going to see it become an RPO, okay? You're going to see 22. Again, split zone run. Offensive line is blocking like an RPO, and this is really what I want to pause and focus on before we go even further. And you'll see it as the play goes on, but watch how the offensive line does a very good job of recognizing where they are in terms of being down the field, getting depth down the field. Again, these RPOs, they can get a little hairy once you get 3 yards down the field and you're throwing it. These illegal man downfield calls, you see them a lot in college football in the RPO world. But watch them do a very good job of recognizing where they are and trying to get back to some of that depth if they are too far down the field. We see this right guard here, 74. Once he engages, we see him trying to be aware of getting back down into the, a legal depth, right? And same thing up top with the left tackle. We kind of see him, getting engaged, and we see him stop his feet, not trying to get too far down the field because they don't know what's happening. They don't know if the quarterback's going to give it or pull it to throw, so they have to be aware at all times. So I think this really kind of hammers in and reinforces the success that they've had because you're doing the little things right. Your coaching points, the little things like that about being exactly acutely aware of where you are on the field is huge. Now let's get into the execution of the play. Okay, the throw. Pull it. We see this bang 8. Quarterback's going to throw it, man. What a ball. What an absolute finish by the receiver, too, man. These guys are really, really good at the catch point. But let's dive into what happened. So really what this is going to evolve into is the quarterback is most likely going to be reading this safety here. Because what's going to happen is he knows this bang 8 is coming behind us. So a bang 8 is basically just a shallow post, right? So if this receiver, or if this safety, rather, were to gain any depth, it would likely be a give because you have 6 on 6. You have a hat for a hat. You have 7 gaps that 6 defenders have to account for. So that's advantageous for the run game. But because this safety, as we saw, doesn't gain any depth and is really just staying shallow, this is not advantageous leverage for the receiver, for the offense. The quarterback knows this, right? If he's even, he's leaving. You've probably heard that before. And we're seeing a little bit of that here because, again, safety is just really staying flat-footed. There is no way that he can get depth to get over the top and get back to that bang 8. Now, the reason the safety is playing it like that is because it looks like it's an inverted cover 2 look. So what that means is the roles are going to invert. They're going to switch. So normally in cover 2, what would happen is, you have your 2 corners right here playing underneath, right? And your 2 safeties playing their deep half, right? That's what cover 2 is. It's 2 deep, 5 under. That's what it is. Pretty simple. It's day 1 install across the board. Cover 2 is cover 2. But what happens is this looks more like an invert, and maybe it's just a miscommunication on Harding's side, and it's not invert, but it sure looks like invert because what's going to happen is, like we talked about, is this safety is really triggering down. He's not gaining any depth, and part of the reason not getting any depth, too, is the position on the field. But again, we're going to see these corners getting over the top, and we see 12 trying to get over the top here and carry this route, and what's going to happen is this safety, right, with no immediate threat coming his direction, nothing in his purview that he has to be responsible for, what's going to happen is he's got to get over the top and carry it. Corner's got to get over the top and carry this route. The safety can't get back in time. Receiver does a pretty good job of really attacking leverage in the route as well and creating some space for himself. And they just can't get there in time, so that gives the quarterback a clear window to throw this into and find him in the end zone. So, man, I'm telling you what, this Ferris State offense is a ton of fun to watch. Highly encourage you guys to follow them along in 2026.